What is up, fellow Suplexians? We are back at it again. It is me, Neeks, VSP Neeks. I'm here with my man Chris. We are in the building. We are here to recap Bad Blood. Chris, how are we feeling, man? It's good to be back. It's been a little bit.
Oh, feeling good, feeling great. We got episode 3.5 out a few weeks back, but I think we're finally settled in to be back on a normal schedule, the every 2-week rotation. But stick with us, guys. We're working out the kinks. This new show, Value of the Suplex, we just launched. But man, what a pay-per-view we just had this last weekend at Bad Blood. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, lots and lots to talk about, man. Very exciting. I felt like we were kind of owed one after Bash in Berlin was a little bit of a snooze fest. I'm not going to pull punches. Let's just jump into it, man. I was a little curious to see how this was going to go because Bad Blood has not really been a pay-per-view in quite some time. Honestly, I thought WWE did a really good job. Everything down to from the merch to the logo, everything looked like super clean and super crisp. I thought it was a really good presentation on WWE's end. They're subtly adding the sponsorships, which I like. It's not like, yeah, we do have the Prime bottle in the middle of the ring, but like the other sponsorships, it's not like it's being shoved down your throat like it was with the Bray Wyatt Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, where like everything was like a Mountain Dew logo, or I really do enjoy the fact that like we're kind of getting into the subtlety of it. Makes the product a little bit more enjoyable and a little less cartoony. But yeah, no, let's jump in the first match. Look, we all can't shoot 100%. I think we're all in general consensus that we thought that the first match on this card was going to absolutely suck. We thought that we had seen it. I thought that there wasn't anything that Drew and Punk could do. And then, man, I don't know, Chris. We turned on that match, and it was an absolute barn burner, man. It looked like WWE had been doing something different with the camera angles, so the cage wasn't in the way as much. You had a lot of blood and gore. I mean, it's Bad Blood, so you got to figure at some point blood is going to be drawn. But man, we saw some real deal violence in this match. For those who don't know, Drew McIntyre got his head split open about halfway through the match, and it required about 14 staples, they said. Split it open with the toolbox, which is a callback to a previous match they had. Can't hate that, but man, 14 staples in the dome piece, and then to keep wrestling for another 15 minutes is crazy to me. I don't know, man. That felt like an old school WWE match to me, just really gritty. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. It almost was close to reminding me of the ECW, no rules kind of days, and what I really enjoyed watching when I was a kid, which is kind of crazy to say, but it was weird. It's like we all showed up for this Hell in a Cell cage match, and then a toolbox match broke out. It was wild the way they're going back and forth with the wrenches. There's going to be a lot of points during our conversation here breaking this down. The pay-per-view overall, where I say that was ridiculous. That was a little hokey. You could tell. I mean, this match went on for over 30 minutes. You could tell these guys were absolutely gassed, lost blood, had a lot of sweat. Don't know if they had prime energy before that or not, but I just really thought it was funny at one point. It might have been right here, close to it, when CM Punk is going for the submission and Drew McIntyre holds up the wrench, but he can't quite get it far enough to do anything with it. So CM Punk just takes it out of his hand. I thought it was hilarious, but no, you could tell by the end these guys were gassed. Some of the moves they were throwing just weren't being sold as well as they were earlier in the match. But man, props to Drew McIntyre. I mean, you can even see here in this picture, he's got quite a bit of red flowing through his mane there.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it's I got to eat some words here. I think the last pay-per-view match that we saw CM Punk in, or excuse me, PLE match that we saw CM Punk in, I called him old. I said he looked old. He didn't look that old in this match, man. He looked crisp. Everything looked like together for me. I did think the wrench was a little gimmicky. I did think it was funny because we're playing that passing out role, but we know that Drew was nowhere near passing out. I thought that the callbacks, Punk obliterating McIntyre with that toolbox is a callback to shit. I think Hart and Austin had a submission match in '97. It was a nice callback to that, where the toolbox was used. I don't think either one of those men cracked their skull wide open, but I mean, even if you look, man, at one point, I thought it was cute, and that's exactly the word I'm going to use, cute, that WWE threw in the towel to the referee to wipe Drew's face, and Corey Graves on commentary, because they can't cut away from that. They're in a cell. There's no way you're cutting away from that. Corey goes, yeah, they just got him a towel to, make sure he can see what he's doing. And it's like, well, yeah, no, that's a crimson mask that we haven't seen in quite some time in WWE. And yeah, like you said, very reminiscent to those like ECW, like all violent, like barbed wire affairs. The one thing I did like is that this whole thing has kind of been, they tried to make this very personal. When Punk shoved the beads into McIntyre's mouth, I thought that was a great callback. I think Drew taking the bump on top of those beads on the steel case, it was a great bump by Drew. I can't imagine that feels good. I mean,
No, I was thinking the same thing, man. I was like, bro, props to you, man. You're not going to catch me doing that.
No, man. I mean, honestly, it's funny when you think of the ways that these guys figure out how to take bumps. And it's like, thumbtacks is the most cliche, I guess, of all now, because you see guys bringing out Legos and you see guys bringing out beads. And it's like the shit that you step on when your kid's, making a mess. Like, that's the stuff that they're throwing each other onto now.
But it's relatable, right? Because, I mean, and anybody, especially, with kids now, and we were all kids, and then now as adults with kids, you step on a Lego, especially in the dark at 1 a.m. That's no joke.
Yeah, no, you know how that. I have a 10-year-old daughter who is very into Taylor Swift. So the bracelet making is strong in this house. And I have stepped on a couple of those beads barefooted, and them son of a bitches hurt. So I can't imagine. I know that those steps at the end of the day are probably some sort of aluminum, but it's still metal at the end of the day, man. You're cracking down on metal and bead. That's not going to feel great.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, I don't know, maybe the toolboxes were softer back then, and that's why he wasn't getting busted open. But no, regardless, whether it's aluminum or whatever, like, still gonna hurt, gonna feel it. And the beads, man, I did think it was an interesting choice to start with the Hell in a Cell match. I didn't initially know that was the case, but it kind of makes sense. It was like the 27th anniversary to the day of the very first Hell in a Cell match. And from my perspective, I mean, it makes sense if you think about how they probably do it logistically, but I was like, this ring was destroyed by the time these guys were done with it, like blood and beads and stairs everywhere. But they probably just ripped off that top cover, tossed a new one on there, and they were ready to go.
Oh, for sure, dude. I mean, Alyssa and I went to the last Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view that pretty much existed in Chicago in 2022. And there was no blood in that, but they changed the tarp pretty quickly in between those matches. I can only imagine that the crew was quick at work. Man, honestly, like, CM Punk came out the victor. I kind of figured that's how that was going to end up. At least you kind of hope that's how it would end up. He's had a pretty good run since being back in WWE. All things considered, his track record at AEW and all the backstage fights and all the shenanigans. It's safe to say, man, I think I've completely turned the corner on CM Punk, and I might be a full CM Punk fan all over again. Growing up as a John Cena fan, it was kind of always fuck you, CM Punk. But there is footage of me somewhere from an AEW where I am crotch chopping Nick and Matt Jackson screaming "fuck CM Punk." There's footage of that somewhere, but I recant that now. His run in WWE, I think, has been actually really good, injury included. So bravo to that. I thought it was a great way to end the match. A little bit of overkill with the medics, especially because CM Punk's oxygen bag didn't inflate. So he's sitting there and he just takes it off. And It was the best pull from CM Punk, but he takes the mask off, and audibly you hear him go, "I just want my damn wife," and walks up the ramp. And it's like, yep, I think most married men in that situation would probably just want their wife. Get this fucking oxygen tank off of me that's not hooked up to oxygen. I just thought that was very funny. We're gonna slide into bro. Look at this thing. I don't know if it's like the airport ones where it's supposed to stay flat like that, but like they have a cord coming in. This thing should be, I feel like, inflated.
You know, they didn't waste any fucking money getting actual oxygen. I agree with what you said, especially CM Punk's perspective. He's like, I just put my whole body on the line for 30 plus minutes. Get me the fuck out of here so I can go be with my wife and enjoy the rest of my night.
I am drenched in another man's blood. Get me the fuck off this stage. I mean,
I need a shower.
Came out red, dude. Like crazy. But honestly, I thought it was a great match. Totally surprised by it. I'll eat my words. CM Punk, the Second City Saint, won me over on that one. The next match, God Almighty, somebody help me, dude. We keep doing this Nia Jax thing. And then my only reprieve was that we were going to get a Tiffy cash in, that Tiffany Stratton was going to cash the briefcase in, and that maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't have to suffer another Nia Jax championship match. But lo and behold, man, I should have known when it was brought up to be Bayley. We weren't going to get any of that. There was a couple of like good moves that Bayley had in here. She had a roll up on Nia Jax that was super clean. Nia Jax tried a Hurricane Rana. Man, was that botch central. Good night, Irene. I mean, dude, Bayley had to sell it, and like Nia might be just too big to be doing that. I don't know, man. This picture really does kind of sum it up. This is how she won the match, by just sitting on Bayley after jumping off the top rope with that dumb finishing move. Dude, even down to like her get up, like my wife made a comment like, why does she always dress like she's wrestling in Saudi? And it's like, yeah, that's the damn truth, man. She's always wearing full length bodysuits. I mean, she looks like a Bratz doll. Like I'm not nothing about Nia Jax is hitting for me. The look, the character, the gimmick, this irresistible force, whatever you want to call it, it's not fucking hitting for me. This match was plain boring for me. I know a lot of people, really like, I don't know, back Nia because she's good in the locker room, but dude, it just ain't me. When you have to look at it and Michael Cole, the best thing about this match was a comment by Michael Cole about how this was a New York Mets style thrashing. That's the best takeaway of the whole fucking match. Is Michael Cole making a Mets reference? Michael Cole, who was on his A game this entire pay-per-view, mind you, him calling out Lil Baby, him calling out Quavo, like that was gold star stuff. When he said we have Lil Baby here, and they didn't cut the camera to Lil Baby, and then they cut the camera back, and he goes, "There he is, my favorite artist." And as Michael Cole just going ape shit about Lil Baby, it had me dying. But yeah, no, this match was just not great. The ref bump was so funny.
Yeah.
But so bad. It was not supposed to be funny.
You saw it coming like the entire way. Like the second like the ref's just like on all fours, like waiting, like, all right.
Oh
all
my
right,
God.
What are we doing? Like,
bro, I rewound it, and it's like you literally watch Nia stick her hand out and Bayley grab her hand to stay. Like, it's the worst ref bump I've ever seen, to the point where it's fucking hysterical. Like, I watched it again the next day with my daughter, and it was fucking hysterical. Like, it was by far. And honestly, Nia didn't pull any punches. She put all that body weight right on top of Jessica Carr, and she flattened like a fucking mouse. Do I like the Tiffany Stratton cash-in attempt? Fuck no, dude. Cash in. I'm so sick of that. I hate that. Like, we're going to tease it. And then, like, if she hands the briefcase to the ref, man, in my eyes, you've cashed in. Like, that's in the story. Like, because as a fan watching, I don't know what's being said between Tiffy and fucking the referee. I have to assume if this mega goddess of a woman hands over the briefcase to the referee, that then like she's cashing in. So like they did that with Austin Theory's run a couple years ago, where like he would just try to cash in and be repeatedly like stopped to the point where it was like I'm not even excited to hear his fucking music anymore.
You just don't believe that it's actually gonna happen. Like,
yeah.
That was my exact thought. I was like, no. Like, she handed it, like she was handing it to the ref. The ref had their hands on it, and there are several times in the course of this whole pay-per-view where the refs, fucked up. Obviously, that was their direction, I'm sure, but it was just like, man, come on, like let's get some better writing in here. Because like if I'm Triple H, I'm going out and being like, nah, you either cash in right now or you lose the briefcase. What do you want to do? And then make them fight for it. But no, of course not. We just get this lame little fucking tease and then it's over. I just think everything you said is like on point, man. Like the whole referee getting flattened and knocked out like perfectly sums up the entire thing. And for me, like being fairly new in the past, several months coming back into this, Nia Jax is either like a great heel or she's just an insufferable person. And I haven't landed on what it is yet.
Yeah, I don't, man, honestly, like the Money in the Bank is so fucking electric. Like the idea of having a briefcase that allows you to just essentially steal a title. I mean, when she came in, flattened Bailey, I was like, this is over. She's cashing in the fucking briefcase. She's going to pin Nia 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to have a Tiffany Stratton run, which, mind you, is going to be better than probably Bailey's run and Nia Jax's run combined, because Tiffany's a character. Bailey's not a character. Bailey's a weird shell of what Bailey used to be, mixed with what Bailey like was with Damage Control. And Nia Jax is just fucking Nia Jax. Like it is what it is. But yeah, man, not a great match. Honestly, this might be a hot take, but I actually think it might be a better match than the next match that came up. We had Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And boy, howdy, was nobody in the building excited for this. It was fucking crickets. I don't think they did a great job of like really making Balor be believable. Honestly, that's kind of my issue with this whole new Judgment Day, is that it instead of feeling like a group of friends or like a cohesive unit, it feels like a bunch of ragtag misfits that are just all hanging out together.
Yeah, literally.
Like it really feels like Trips looked at the roster and was like, who's not doing anything? Carlito, Judgment Day. JD McDonough, Judgment Day. Like, I know they all had like ends to the actual Judgment Day, but like, man, it just like the Finn, Damian Priest, Rhea, Dominic Mysterio Judgment Day was a believable heel group. This like Finn's not. Dude, I've been saying this, but like, I want Finn as a face. I don't need Finn as a heel. He's a good face, and like honestly has one of the more iconic entrances as a face when he like points to the sky and the entire crowd is like pointing to the sky with him, and it's this like epic fucking moment. Like I caught it the last time it happened in Chicago, and like I mean, just immediate like goosebumps. It's a vibe, and it makes you want to root for him. You don't get that with the heel aspect. He came out in the goofy mask. He's been doing that weird mask thing lately. Apparently, there was one tier for Rhea, one tier for Damian, and then the stripe down the middle was for the line that they both crossed. But the fact of the matter is that he had to explain that. So probably not great. But yeah, he came out, had that funky little eye black under his eye. I don't know what he was doing there. Like, Game 7 status. Like, really not sure what the hell was going on. But just honestly, fucking boring, man. This is it just doesn't make the Judgment Day look good. Because they came out to save Finn. Damian still walks out. Like, I don't, it makes the Judgment Day look not like a threat at all. you couldn't win with 3 dudes. You had 3 motherfuckers, dude. Like you couldn't win with 3 dudes. Like you didn't. I'd much rather it had been like a DQ or something. But like, yeah, not a great match. Priest defeats Balor. At one point, Priest yeeted Balor across the announce table. That's about the most like high. That's our highlight there. So if that doesn't tell you anything, next we were teased with a historic announcement.
Oh boy.
Oh man, when those words are put together in the wrestling world, it is just basically code for we're getting another belt. And what the fuck happened? We got another goddamn belt. Triple H came out. Honestly, the 10-year-old inside of me gets jacked every single time you hear that music and that green light goes off. Yeah. You just want to spit water everywhere. Like it's a carnal feeling. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's a very like alpha male feeling that goes through my body when that happens. But yeah, he comes out and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fucking cool. He makes the announcement. We have Crown Jewel coming up, which gets audible boos on the live broadcast, which is very funny.
It got boos from my living room, I'll tell you that.
It got boos from my living room too, brother. It was very, very funny that like the fan base is like, nah, we don't want anything to do with Crown Jewel. We're not. First of all, you're gonna book it where none of us are gonna see it. It's gonna come on at 11:30 like a.m. Arizona time. I'm gonna have to be off social media all damn day so I don't ruin anything. Like it's man, it'll be interesting. But yes, he brings out a belt, and in this statement with the belt, he says basically that for the first time ever, the heavyweight champion and the world champion will face off. And my dick got hard. Like instantly. I was like, oh my God, we're going to have belts. Belts on the line. Holy shit, how cool is it going to be? We're going to have, this is how you get the belt off Nia. That was my first thought. Liv takes both belts. Belts off Nia. Liv can lose the other one and it's fine. And then Triple H makes the statement, no belts will be on the line. Well, what the fuck are we doing this for? That's my first thought. He shows this 50-carat championship belt.
50 carat.
50 carats.
Jump the gun a little bit in pulling up the graphic. I apologize for that. I want to let you finish. I didn't mean to cut you off like Connie. I'm going to let you finish. But, Niko, I've seen rhinestones with more clarity than these jewels on here. That's all I got to say.
Oh, man, this is it was bad to say 50 carats because there's more than 50 jewels on this. So, we're like, like a quarter carat per jewel, basically. It was an interesting move. It felt like Triple H pulled that out of his asshole, but we'll never know. And basically says that like these guys are gonna fight for this belt. Son of a bitch, we've done this. We did this with King in the Ring. We did this with Braun Strowman. What? So tell me. Let me just ask this, Chris. And if Cody Rhodes wins, is Cody coming to Monday Night Raw with this dumb Saudi belt that like nobody cares about because nobody cares about Crown Jewel?
I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Because if you are you just going to carry it around for the rest of the year and it's never going to be contested? Yeah. Like you're never going to. No, it's just. What is it going to sit in your living room? Is it going to travel? And be on display in every city? Like it's stupid. The whole thing's stupid.
Yeah. So I immediately was not happy about this, and then everything changed magically. The music hit, the vocals screamed out Gunther, and all of a sudden this 6-foot-something German model man came out with his belt around his waist and a sweet suit. And I was like, dude, anytime Triple H and Gunther get in the ring together, for me, that's like a personal like what if match. Like if I could get prime Triple H and prime Gunther and just have them beat the piss out of each other, oh my God, that's like a 5-star match every single time. So anytime they get in the ring together, I'm always like, oh, please tell me that Trips is going to come out of retirement one time for this because that'll make me such a happy boy. But no, the other direction that is given is that Gunther in a Raw previous, or SmackDown, I believe it was the airing of SmackDown's new USA network debut. Gunther told Bret Hart that Bret Hart was not his favorite wrestler. He said that Goldberg was, because as everybody knows, Bret Hart hates Goldberg with a burning passion. I think if there's anybody on this planet that Bret Hart would actually light on fire, it would be Bill Goldberg. So I thought it was very, very cute and very funny that Gunther comes out and says, I lied. Goldberg is not my favorite wrestler. I could never like a one-trick pony. The second he said that, I audibly went, ooh, in my living room. Yeah. And then I saw a little twitch in Goldberg's mustache. And I rewatched it just to make sure. He gets this, I don't know if he meant to or if it's because he called him a one-trick pony, but there was a twitch where Goldberg was like, I'll fuck this big Austrian up right now. I don't give a shit. And the second he goes after his kid Gage, who is playing for Colorado under Deion Sanders, Goldberg is, yeah. Apparently that was a favor done by Deion. That's a different podcast, but that Deion's saving roster spots in Colorado for his WWE buddies. Not apparently, they played on the Falcons together, and that's the tie between the two of them. But like I said, that's a different
podcast.
Okay. Yeah, so he goes after Gage, Bill Goldberg's son, and he says, Gage, I hope that your dad is a better dad than he was a wrestler. And that's the line for Goldberg. And Goldberg hops up, and I am in my living room standing at this point because I know that Bill Goldberg's a one-trick pony. I know that there's going to be a spear fest. I know that the match is going to be 30 seconds, but fuck you, I want it. I think Goldberg's one of those wrestlers that if you deprive us enough of, we'll forget that the match sucks if it lasts longer than a minute. We'll just take it. I'll do it for the fucking intro where the cops are knocking on the door and they're like escorting him out. And he, like, dude, one of the scariest things was Goldberg walking through those fireworks and then flexing and snorting out fucking smoke. And I was like, oh my God, like he's a real life animal. Like he will really beat somebody to death. So, besides the point, Goldberg comes in, all that to be a distraction for Sami Zayn to come in like a flying squirrel monkey out of nowhere and beat the shit out of Gunther, which I love when Sami gets into crazy Sami form. This like real like spastic spider monkey energy is my favorite. He had a move off the top rope where he just fucking throws Gunther over and then fucking whoop, like hops over, flying squirrel, arms spread, lands on top of Gunther. It was, man, I love that version of Sami. That gets me so pumped up. So this segment, all in all, granted, it was a promo for Saudi and it was a promo for Crown Jewel, which is a bullshit pay-per-view in general. It was an A+. You use the talent around you, right? You had all these Hall of Famers. And all night, I don't know about you, Chris, but all night I was kind of like, man, why are these why are all these superstars? Why are all these Hall of Famers here? It seems like there's an odd amount of Hall of Famers for what was happening. And then all of a sudden, boom, Bill Goldberg's the one that gets pulled into the fold. And it was a great little like smoke and mirrors, trick. But yeah, I thought that it was amazing. I thought Adam Pearce being frantic, like crazy Adam Pearce is my favorite when he's like, just go. You'll get him on Monday night. It's my favorite. It's like a dad who can't control his gremlin children. It's my favorite. So yeah, I thought that honestly better segment than the past two matches were. So that's, we're just saying that. But yeah, this is going to take us to like really when this pay-per-view starts to like gain some real steam, man. It started out real hot with Drew McIntyre, and then we kind of cooled down with the two matches, which is fine. The middle matches are, we go take a piss break, you go get something to eat. That's kind of what those matches are there for, unfortunately. We are set up for now Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley with the Dom in a shark cage match. Man, I thought this was the stupidest stipulation when I first heard it. And I thought, how AEW of us to do this. This feels very gimmicky. This feels very like what kind of shystiness is here? I don't know, dude. I fucking liked it. I liked the way it was executed. Dom falling out and creating a distraction, falling out of the shark cage. Didn't expect it. I didn't think that's how. I thought Dom was going to jump, honestly. But I don't know, man. I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, the match as a whole, this was, I think, I'm going to use that word again, ridiculous. For me, this was probably the most ridiculous, but maybe it was just ridiculous enough. I get the shark cage angle made a little more sense to me from the perspective of you want to prevent Dom from being able to interfere, right? And so you suspend him from this cage. You're playing up like, oh, he's afraid of heights. Oh, he's claustrophobic. I thought the beginning of like the intros was kind of ridiculous. Like they come in on the lowrider and they're like, you can buy your own lowrider on the WWE shop. And then Rhea comes out and she's like, I got toilet paper. And it's like, you can buy the toilet paper on the WWE shop. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so corny. But the substance of the match was actually pretty good. I did think it was funny though. I noticed right away that the cage didn't ever have a lock on it. It was just like latched. And so right away I was like, is he gonna, like you said, is he gonna jump? Is he gonna get out of there sometime? I didn't know I guess I didn't notice that his ankle was like cuffed up there. And props to him for doing that, man. I wouldn't want to be dangling from any amount of height by my ankle. I'm sure it didn't feel great when he hit the end of that chain. But yeah, man, we'll get more into the substance of it, but just high level, I thought it was ridiculous, but also after having watched two ridiculous matches before that, it was a breath of fresh air. And I hope we're close to the end of this Rhea Liv saga, though. I fear we're not, though, Niko. I fear we are not.
I think at this point this is one of the things, and I didn't mention this when we talked about the CM Punk McIntyre match, but I liked it because CM Punk slammed the door on the cage. And that for me was, this shit's done. We're not doing CM Punk and Drew McIntyre anymore. And that was, that for me, we didn't really get that with the whole Liv and Rhea thing. So I don't know. I fucking think it's done because we now have to build a believable match between Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. So like, I think it's done, but man, there were a couple of really interesting points in this match. I thought this is the only match that they really used that ref cam. And that ref cam, man, like I know that like we all know what wrestling is, right? Like we're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes here, but for your referee, for somebody to be in the ring and say, hey, I've got to go deal with that. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll be back. And for the ref to say, yeah, you deserve that. What the fuck is that? That's the most unbiased fucking bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
I hated that more than anything. And the announcers acknowledged it. They were like, that's a dereliction. Because like it almost makes me, actually it does make me not feel bad about the disqualification at all, because Rhea should have been disqualified on a 10-second count being outside of the ring. And the whole pinata Dom with the kendo stick was just so dumb. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to symbolize Rhea taking out her frustrations, a woman scorned, Dom betrayed her, yada, yada, yada. But, oh my God. And then I'm going to be completely honest, Niko, I didn't know who Raquel Rodriguez was until she rolled out. And then I guess she has some history with Liv and like she's been gone for some period of time. So she's coming back. So maybe this opens the door to kind of close the chapter on Rhea and Liv, and now Rhea can have some beef with Raquel or something. I don't know. But yeah, the pinata Dom thing, man, that was the first thing I thought. It was like, oh, she's going to treat him like a goddamn pinata.
Yeah, the pinata thing was interesting. My big thing is like, at one point you can tell that Dom's vest is sitting weird on his body. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with his vest? And then as I'm watching Rhea hit him, I'm like, this pussy has a padded vest.
He's got like a flak jacket on underneath.
Yeah, it's like literally a padded vest. And I'm like, granted, they probably did it because he's hanging upside down and it's a lot harder to protect the parts of your body that you need to protect to make that move look believable and safe. But like, man, I mean, your dad's like one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Like, just fucking sell it for me, please. Um, yeah, that was an interesting angle. The fucking I I liked Raquel. I Raquel was a nice angle because yes, Raquel and Liv have an interesting past. They've been friends, they've been enemies, they've been tag team partners. There was like one moment where like Liv fucking Raquel headbutted Liv. Like it's a very WWE like women's roster relationship where like one week they're feuding, the next week they're best friends. What I like about Raquel is that she is big. She is one of the few girls athletically, because like Nia Jax is big, it's not athletic. Um, Raquel is big and athletic, and can like that Tejana bomb that she put on Rhea. That's her finisher. That was such a clean fucking. And Rhea is not a small girl. She's a lot of muscle. So for her to just pick her up that clean and slam her down was dope. Personally, it's nice to see Raquel back because she has like a rare skin thing where like this is what kept her out is that like her skin basically would like react to like sweat and like the oils of the mat in a weird way to like where it would like dry her out. Like yeah, it's gnarly. They tried to bring her back for a pay-per-view a couple months ago. Well, maybe probably about a year ago now, and she couldn't even wear makeup. It was so bad. So like they gave her like a bunch of time off. So it's nice to see her like healthy and like in the ring and doing what she loves to do. That's fucking sweet. It'll be interesting because Raquel has a history of not being the best on the mic. So it'll be interesting to see like where this goes. I'm assuming Liv's going to do the damage on the microphone, and that Raquel's probably going to play an enforcer role. And hopefully we do see a Rhea Raquel fight because I do think that's the equivalent of big meaty men slapping meat in the women's division, man. That's big meaty women slapping meat, man. And I'm here for that. Like,
yeah, I guess watching, I didn't realize that Raquel is like 6'2" or something like that. So she is pretty big. I thought it was interesting because Liv's not a very, big girl. And it seemed like Raquel was like what do you think of the whole, like her trying to carry Liv, only hooking one leg, stumbling and just putting her down and all right.
I thought that the end of that whole thing was very jumbled, period. The like disqualification bell going off, ding, ding, ding. And then Raquel still throwing Liv over Rhea for 3 seconds. It's like a visual. We didn't need that. The match was over. And even the announcers kind of made like a weird comment about it, which they wouldn't normally do, I don't feel like. But yeah, then it was like very bizarre with her like picking up Liv and like trying to like drag her and then like deciding like, no, I'm just gonna put her in the corner and then I'm gonna go get her belt. And then like Liv has no reaction during the entire thing until she gets her belt. And then there's like a reaction. I just thought, yeah, it was a very interesting and bizarre way for that to go down. But I mean, shit, man. I honestly like Rhea and Liv have really good in ring chemistry, and it would be like nice to just see a regular match, like without the fucking bullshit, without a fucking disqualification. Like that tells me that this probably isn't over because we didn't get a winner.
Yeah, they might have to lock Dom in like a cell backstage or something,
in a closet or
or a
something.
closet, yeah, or put these. You can't put them in a Hell in a Cell. Is there? I don't think there's ever been a woman's Hell in a Cell, but like something to contain them where there can be no outside interference of any kind, or I don't know. Because even if you do a no DQ match, then you're just inviting interference, and then it's like, I agree though, a straight up match would be refreshing, but I think part of it could be that you have to make it believable, I guess might be the right word, that Liv could beat Rhea, because if it was straight up, like Nia Jax and Bayley, like it's not realistic that Bayley's going to be able to beat Nia Jax if it's just straight up. Like Nia Jax just sits on people. It's like just like it wasn't really realistic that Finn Balor was going to beat Damian Priest. Like Priest is pretty imposing. Balor is a kind of spunky guy, but so it's the same with Rhea and Liv, where Rhea is a lot stronger, a lot more muscular, but you gotta switch, you gotta do something.
I did really like the whole selling point that they were doing of Liv being smarter than Rhea, because it introduces a weakness for Rhea, which we haven't really seen, right? Because you look at her and you go, she's jocked. She can absolutely like in ring work with the best of them. She's great on the microphone. Like Liv being like, you may be bigger, faster, stronger, but you're not smarter than me. And then her having like Raquel in the wings, I think that does a lot for the Liv character,
That's
and I
true.
thought it was a great twist. But yeah, yeah, the one of the funnier things I wrote down in my notes from this is Corey Graves makes a great comment about how Rhea is bitter, and he hopes that she meets a nice redheaded Australian man with big
I
mustache.
caught that. Yeah.
And that killed me because that was definitely a reference, for those who don't know, to Buddy Matthews, her husband, who's in AEW. It was fucking phenomenal. It was a great. Corey Graves had some really funny moments on commentary in this whole PLE, but that was definitely one of the funnier ones where I had to like out loud laugh in my kitchen. But yeah, man, honestly, I better than I thought. There was a lot of chicanery and a lot of like really funny moments that didn't need to be, but better than I thought. Um, we're gonna move on to the main event. Um, Let me just get this out of the way. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, anytime they're in a fucking arena together, it's like who has the better intro. They try to outdo each other, and this was no fucking exception. Cody comes out with the Atlanta marching band from one of the HBCUs in the area, and it's just absolutely vibing, playing the whole down straight intro song, and then Cody's music hits. He comes out with that gaudy mask with he looks sick, right?
I love the mask. Honestly,
He,
I love the mask.
I do too. He looks like a real life anime character. I fucking love when he fucking wears it. It's so sick. And I'm usually not like big on those like entrance masks, but like that thing is so perfect, and it's the tattoo on his throat. It's very well done. But yeah, man, and then Roman, you turn around, and all of a sudden there's a row of just like orchestra instruments. There's cellos and bass and violins and drums and like I don't know if you saw, there was one video of a lady who was on the drums, and she is just playing air. She's not playing the drums whatsoever, and you can tell she knows she's doing it, and it's a very funny video. But yeah, no, just them two going off in the intro off. Who's going to take the longest to get to the stage? Both of them are like 20-minute walkouts. That's why, I always look at the time that's left for the last match, and I'm like, an hour and a half? That's how much time I have left for this last match. And then my wife kindly reminds me that both Roman and Cody take 45 minutes to get to the ring. So, man, this was tag team match in WWE. I mean, that's really what it was. I don't know if this even had really a whole lot, other than the fact that it's Roman and Cody. This didn't have a whole lot of business being the main event. Honestly, I think WWE blew their load in the first match, and that should have been their main event. But I know why they did it, and obviously we'll get to like what happens. But like, man, there's certain things that Roman does very, very well. The look that he gave Cody at the beginning of the match, where it was like, "Do you want to go? Do you want me to go? Are you want to go?" That like real life, where it's like you can kind of see like it's not an act, but it's also an act. Roman does that very well. Dude, I don't know why I do this, but I'll shit talk Roman Reigns to the day I die. But then he comes on my TV and it's fucking electrifying, and I can't like help myself. Like he hits the fucking when he jacks that fist and goes to hit the Superman. Like your boy's on all four. Like I add attention. Like I am ready for anything and everything. He hits the hoo-ha and the whole crowd goes with him. Like those like that shit where you go, okay, like maybe this is a Kobe in the Lakers scenario, where like I didn't like Kobe because it was Kobe and he was in the Lakers, but you appreciate the greatness that was Kobe. I think really like appreciating the greatness that is Roman Reigns inside of the ring, man. Not a lot of guys have that. It is. He's a great Ray. He's honestly, and we've talked about this before. John Cena calls Roman Reigns his GOAT, and John Cena's opinion matters a whole hell of a lot to me.
That's high praise, yeah.
Yeah. So when my GOAT says that you're the GOAT, like they pseudo you're my GOAT, like I don't know, but as far as the in like ring shit, man, what did you think? I just kind of thought that this was a match to be a match.
Dude, it was, you could tell that they were dragging it out to start for like the first 10, 15 minutes, just really not a lot of substance. It was a lot of Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu dragging Cody Rhodes around the ring. Man, I don't know about you, but the way Cody struggled to crawl to the corner and like he's just sitting there on all fours for like a solid 60 seconds, like, bro, dive, crawl, anything but what you're doing. And I don't know if that's like the bloodline, like not getting to their spot quick enough to prevent him, but it's like, it wasn't believable whatsoever. And I was like, this is goofy. And I was like, I know it's, some, not necessarily for the kids, but like it's meant to be that way to some extent. But I just think they overdid it a little bit. And then, fast forward a little bit, Roman Reigns gets pulled off the apron and smacks his face, and then he's dead for 5 minutes when he had done no wrestling up until that point. It was just little things like that that really bugged me, where I was like, there are some other angles I feel like you could have taken, but the last 10 minutes and beyond were pretty electric, and I ended up enjoying the match as a whole.
Yeah, man, it's funny that you brought up the the Cody anguish moment because man, it was bad. And like I give these guys so much runway for that shit because I've seen really, really bad ones, but like that was really, and it really was. It was. I don't even think it was as much Jacob Fatu. I think there was a lot of shine shown to how bad Solo's gotten, maybe, or maybe how much better Jacob Fatu is at being solo than Solo is being at solo. I watched Jacob Fatu, man, and it's like that dude is so big to move the way he does in the ring. The first time that he turned around and did that like Rikishi butt smash in the post and the force that he like hit with, I'm like, dude, like you sold me, and that was believable as shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we got, and then like the new bloodline is full of botches, man. Like I've seen the internet lovingly call Tongaloa Botchaloa, and that's because the dude hasn't done a damn thing correct since he got into the WWE. Like even down to his debut was like 5 seconds late coming out from underneath the ring, and the ref had to like basically push themselves out of the ring because Tongaloa was supposed to pull him out. But that was not great, man. The second I saw the hooded character standing outside of the ring with the mask over his face, I got pumped. I got real pumped because he was skinny, and I was like, we haven't seen Jimmy in quite some time. And then Jimmy pulls down the face mask and pulls out the hood, does the unhinged fucking head shake and tongue waggle. That shit was, I was hyped, dude. I don't know about you, but I was fucking hyped the second I saw that. It was they did a great job doing it because you didn't know Jimmy was there the whole time. Unless you were in arena, then you were like, who's the third guy? But like from at home, man, you didn't know it was Jimmy until the very last second. And then Jimmy turning, and that moment of you being like, okay, which bloodline is Jimmy going to be a part of here? And then turns and kicks out both of the new bloodline. I mean, dude, this like sadistic, yes, this shit was money, bro. Like,
oh man, yeah, I was like, I honestly got like a little bit of like chills when he was like staring down. What was he staring down Solo?
Yep.
And like, ooh, I was like, oh, it's like it's on. Changes are coming around these parts.
Yeah, man, it was very, very, and this is, man, WWE has this bloodline story. Honestly, when we're all said and done, from Roman Reigns being the original tribal chief to the solo run and Jimmy coming and like probably what we're assuming is going to be Roman overtaking this new bloodline. This whole bloodline story over the past 5 years might be the best storyline that WWE has ever fucking done ever, and might be the longest term storytelling that we've ever seen WWE do. So I loved the Jimmy moment. The hug between Roman, where Roman says, "You called that play, Oos? You called that play?" And Jimmy goes, "I got you, Oos. I got you. I called that play." And then they hug. I was like, dude, fucking chills. I'm jacked up right now. Like, let's fucking go. Ready to run through a wall. And then they escort themselves out of the ring, and the new bloodline decides to take advantage of a prone Cody Rhodes laying in the ring. This was an interesting angle because I think it was put in purely to show me that Jimmy is a babyface, but because there's no other reason to have the bloodline jump Cody. Like, I mean, other than it's the bloodline.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I mean, Cody's presence overall didn't make a whole lot of sense in that match to begin with. Yeah, that was I think it was interesting the way the commentators framed it versus what we saw with our own eyes. Because Jimmy was like, "I'll do whatever you want, man. Like, do you want to help him? Do you not want to help him? I'm doing whatever you want." And then he's like, "All right, we're gonna go help him." And the announcers were like, "Oh, Jimmy convinced him to go help him." I was like, "That's not what happened." Like,
yeah, it definitely felt like they were pushing a narrative because the whole thing was they were gonna bring Roman back as a babyface. Dude, I don't even know if they brought Roman back as a babyface. I still kind of look at Roman as the bad guy, and that's like maybe because that's what he's been for fucking ever now. And like honestly, you can tell me that Jimmy is a babyface, but like Jimmy's was the bad guy. Like Jay is the most believable one because Jay is the one that like stood up, took the moral high ground, stood up to his cousin and his brother, and said, "No, I'm not going to do this shit anymore." Like Jay and Roman are like kids who got caught spray painting the high school bathroom. You know, they're like, "Oh no, we're good. We're good guys now. We're good guys." Like, no, that's you're just saying that because you're in fucking trouble right now. So I really did like though the whole Jimmy sneak. The bloodline beats up Cody, like you said. Roman and Jimmy go back to save Cody, and it is a framed Cody or Jimmy led move. And like you said, that was not. If you listen to the audio that was coming through the camera, that is not what would happen at all. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, man, McAfee did spoil on Friday that the big guy was supposed to be showing up, and Cody, like a kid who's never been in trouble before. The interaction between Cody and Pat McAfee. Pat goes, "Hey, I heard the big guy's coming on Saturday," and Cody goes, "What big guy? Which one?" And you're like, "All right, dude. Like now I fucking know for sure." So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, man, was the big guy Raquel? Like, was the big guy Jimmy? Was that the return that I was supposed to see? Like, if so, that's cool. Like, it was cool, but it's not the big guy. And then you hear fucking The Rock's final boss music hit. The lights go out in this fucking place. And dude, I joke a lot about getting shoved up for wrestling on this podcast. For the love of Christ, if anybody does it to me, it is The Rock, man. The aura, the fucking stance, the like even I mean, dude's like 50 something and looks like he could absolutely eat every single one of us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. I'll just say, I mean, obviously The Rock is one of the OGs. We all grew up watching him, and even before I was even alive, he was wrestling, I'm pretty sure. But it's interesting now where we're at in 2024 because we know Dwayne Johnson. We see how much of a fun-loving dad he is, and he's in all these kids' movies. But then you have The Rock, and he does the character of The Rock so well. He came out, and like you said, I think you said it, the aura, man. Like, he didn't have to say a word. And he just, his presence alone, he could just stand there for 5 minutes glaring in the ring, and that stadium is going to keep that energy.
Yep.
And it's just, what does it mean though, Niko? What does it mean that The Rock showed up?
You know, this goes probably one of two ways. I think it's either The Rock versus Cody, which I want to see The Rock versus Cody? Yes. Is The Rock versus Cody gonna fucking mean anything to me? Not really, besides the fact that it's just The Rock versus Cody. Um, I rather this be a Roman Rock thing. WrestleMania Night 1, April 19th. Fucking lead me off with The Rock, who is secretly calling shots behind the New Bloodline. And then Roman trying to overtake the New Bloodline with Jimmy, and what I would assume would be getting Jay back after a singles run, which that's maybe a whole nother podcast. But like Jay is doing so good, if they pull him back into this shit, um, okay, scratch that. Jay was doing so good. Now it feels like he's in this weird space where he's flirting with Rhea Ripley, and that's like the storyline is like they're just like oddly flirting with each other. Yeah, I mean, I see them sharing each other's stories, and she's wearing a Yeet like friendship bracelet. He's wearing a mommy friendship bracelet. It's like very much like my kids' fucking like crushes at school, like
Yeah.
he wrote me a note and checked yes. Like that's what it feels like. But man, yeah, dude, when The Rock came out, I got fucking pumped, and that my head went to the same thing. What does this mean? He came out and did this 1, 2, 3, and he did it real weird because I think he went 1, 2, and then he went 3, which is an odd finger. Like usually you either go 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1, or it was a very very odd move by The Rock, and everybody's super paying attention to The Rock's fingers because the dude for the first like month he was on SmackDown during the WrestleMania run would do this to acknowledge the ones, which is not this, which is what the whole group was doing. So it created a whole fan conspiracy online that The Rock is the real tribal chief and he's putting the L up because Roman's a loser. But no, man, it was interesting use of Dwayne. It worked. I mean, like I'm sitting here saying how jacked up I was, and the dude didn't have a microphone. He didn't fucking say anything. They literally just Hulk Hogan'd him. They put him in and were like, "Go be The Rock for 5 minutes."
Yeah.
And then people went ape shit. So I hope that it's Rock and Roman because that would be a fucking match. I mean, you talk about like big fucking matches, man. Like Undertaker, Mankind, and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Brock and Roman. Like you talk about like big matches. Like Rock Roman, man, is a crazy match that could be absolutely almost theatrical in ring. But yeah, and it's an interesting point that you pointed out, Chris. We all do know Dwayne. We all know Dwayne. That's the thing. We've all seen Dwayne with Kevin Hart and him making jokes about Kevin Hart's size, and we know how good of a dude Dwayne is and all that kind of. But you're right. The second he steps into that WWE like universe, Dwayne's not a fucking human anymore. Dwayne doesn't exist. This is The Rock show, and he comes out and with his fucking baby oiled arms and looking like a glistening Mr. Potato Head, and hits that eyebrow, and the day I die, dude, it is going to absolutely electrify me, and that is why he is the most electrifying man in show business. I do find it interesting that he's still toting the belt from WrestleMania weekend that the I think it was Muhammad Ali's mom or something gave to him. I don't know. Can't be Muhammad Ali's mom. Muhammad Ali was very old. But somebody important gave The Rock this belt, and he's just holding it because I think he wants to feel like he's got a title. But yeah, man, that was one hell of a way to end the show. Like we said, no comments, no clarification. There wasn't really any kind of clarification like post either, which is interesting. I don't know. I thought overall, given the shenanigans with how bad the New Bloodline is, I thought it was actually pretty decent save in the last 10 minutes. I'm not even going to go there and say that it was a good match because I don't think the match itself was actually that good. I think that it was a nice save with the distraction tactics. But yeah, yeah, man, it was one hell of a show. I think like we kind of mentioned, we alluded to, We feel like they blew their load by putting the Hell in a Cell first. I still feel like even with The Rock, you could have had The Rock come out and it's still like, dude, especially if The Rock was just going to stare, The Rock could have been there. It could have been the first match, man. It could have been the first match. You could have electrified the building with The Rock showing up randomly, and now everybody is wondering what the fuck that meant for the rest of the night. You have people on pins and needles. Is there going to be a vignette? Is there going to be a video? Yada yada yada. But all in all, I don't know, man. I give the pay per view like the PLE like a probably like a B plus. It wasn't god awful. It wasn't uber fantastic, but compared to what we have with Bad Blood, it looked really good, which is, I guess, keen booking on Triple H's part, knowing that you had not a great pay per view and then following it up with this one. But it should be interesting, man. We got 4 weeks till the Crown Jewel in Saudi, and we don't sound excited about it right now because we're not. But that's going to be one of the rare ones, man, where like I have to force myself to watch it. And I honestly, like, if we weren't doing the podcast, I don't know if I even would have watched Crown Jewel, but we got a job here to do, and that's to give you guys the right kind of information. We're going to make sure that we stay educated on that. But any last thoughts about the pay-per-view, Chris?
No, man, I agree with you. I'd give it a B. I was thinking 8 out of 10 even before you said that. So right there, kind of in that wheelhouse. So pretty damn good, you know. If that's what I'm getting, I'll take it. For my money, I think they went 3 out of 5 in their matches, entertainment wise. You know, had the 2 in the middle there, but coming out with the banger of a Hell in a Cell, kind of a risky choice, especially when you have a weird tag team match at the end. But I think what really saved that last match and some of the goofiness and like I said, the first 15 minutes of it was how it ended with Jimmy Uso coming back, the saving of like it was just like all over the place, but it wasn't like it didn't make sense. It, you know, in some level, like the Rock thing, like the little bit of a mystery. I will say about the last thing I was thinking about the Rock is like it is interesting, and I'm sure we're gonna have some time to speculate, especially as we get more information as to what the plan is, because you know, with the Rock coming back to the WWE, it's always he's here for a good time, not a long time. So I'm curious to see, you know, do they ride this out until WrestleMania? We're still like 6 months away. I don't know. We'll see, but yeah, just looking forward. I mean, I think there's only those 2 matches announced for Crown Jewel so far. So going to be interesting to see how they fill that card out. And I believe with having 3-4 weeks until then, we'll definitely get on the next Valley of the Suplex episode 5 and you know, do a little preview.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like you are absolutely correct. The Rock is always here at this point for a good time and not a long time. Really does kind of make you wonder like what we're gearing up for, or if this was just a flash in the pan. But yeah, man, I don't know. All in all, like, I guess pleasantly surprised would be where I put it. I kind of went into this PLE with kind of shitty expectations. I kind of thought NXT has been really stealing the show as far as it goes lately. And shout out Ethan Page, made his Raw debut last night. I did see that, which is fucking sweet because I think I have forced everybody here at Valley of the Suplex to be an Ethan Page fan at this point. So I'm going to put it on wax that's our show's guy. Good for you, Ethan Page. Yeah, man, it was fun. It was fun. Hopefully we got like a wrestling event coming here soon. I think there's one supposed to be in the winter time somewhere around here. We can get boots on the ground for you guys, whether it be us inside the building or us outside the building. We will try to provide some sort of content as that is happening. I don't know. I don't know where I'll be in April, but your boy would love to be at WrestleMania, so we can always talk about that one. Vegas, April 19th and April 20th. Not a bad time to be in Nevada. Just saying, on the Strip, could be a good time. But yeah, no, man, it's Chris. It's always fun to do this, man. It's nice to get back into the swing of things. Thanks to Triple H for a bunch of shit to talk about, whether we agreed with it or not. It was I thought a well put together pay-per-view. I did think I did want to mention this. There were two very funny moments. They cut back to Gorilla at one point, and Triple H was in the middle of like chewing down a sandwich. Thought that was fucking hysterical. Well, don't do that to the man. That's your boss. And then I thought that honestly, I love Jade Cargill, but Jade, Naomi, and Bianca hosting was so just unnecessary. Like it felt like there was no need for it, and then they did that weird. The only time that it was funny was when they made fun of Chelsea Green for stinking after the dumpster match. That shit was fucking hysterical, and I'm a Chelsea Green stan, so I'll love anything that she's in. But like, I didn't see a need for them to be there, especially when like it started with them screaming into the microphones. Welcome to Bad Blood. You're like, bro, you guys work mics. You don't have to scream. You know what to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was very fucking funny. But all in all, man, sweet pay-per-view. We got Raw from last night to kind of catch up on, and then we got some shows that we got to watch in the next 4 weeks to kind of see what we're going to be looking at here. We already know we're going to see Gunther versus Cody, which is going to be a fucking barn burner. We're going to get Liv versus Nia, which is not going to be a barn burner. So, you slap those two on for the Saudi card for that big green belt worth 50 carats. But until next time, guys, please remember, as always, like and subscribe. The Valley Sports Plug. We are the Valley Sport. We are the Woo! We are Valley of the Suplex. We are here to provide you guys the best wrestling content and entertainment that we possibly can from an Arizona-based view. Like I said, guys, like and subscribe. We enjoy having you along for the ride. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We're going to talk, honestly, a lot of Raw and SmackDown recaps. Probably dip our feet into a little bit of AEW because that world is always a little goofy. And then, yeah, man, we got a pay-per-view 2 weeks after that. So until then, for my host Chris, I am Neeks, VSP Neeks. We will see you later. Thank you so much for tuning into Valley of the Suplex. Adios.